Oh, hello! Welcome to my YouTube channel. Hi, how are you and how is everyone? I realized that I didn't really post very much in 2023. It looks like the last video I posted was just an update, and I was kind of looking at my YouTube channel today and realized, that I've been pretty inactive, and there are some of you who have found this channel, and 30,000 of you have watched it since I first post up my first video, which is quite shocking. So anyway, I am here in January 2024 to kind of give another update. And this video obviously isn't planned. I'm just, as always, just getting on video, just having a chat, and I wrote a few small bullet points on what I would like to talk about. So here it is. Okay, so why have I not been posting, and what have I been doing? Not posting on YouTube was a deliberate choice. I spent a lot of last year kind of being on my own healing journey and actually devoting a lot of time on mentorship in my current job as a user experience designer. And through the mentorship of others and providing help and service to someone else really brought me back to the way that I envisioned myself before I got sick. And looking on the times that I've gotten sick, because it was such a long extended time, I just felt like I almost lost my sense of identity, or I realized that a lot of my identity was attached to my career and my achievements. And it took me a while to really get that sense of passion back and really understanding why is it that I do what I do, and just getting clarity on my own values. And I think that devoting time for me to help other people through their career struggles or career path, at least to be a designer, made me feel more like myself every day when they share with me their news of landing a job or doing better in their lives, or not getting a job and getting that support from someone else that I never had. So I think that was a big part of my year last year. Spent over 3.5 months of free time mentoring others, and so making YouTube videos was not on my list of things. Also, it was very, very difficult for me to get on the video and share more, because it takes so much energy to heal, and that's one of the things that I don't know if people talk about, that the healing journey is actually a hard thing that you actually have to work through. And a lot of that is having a lot of uncomfortable thoughts and uncomfortable conversations. So I can kind of break down the two themes. I think one is about the physical health and how everything is going, and then second is more about the mental health. So I'll just start with the physical health. I have been going to my tests for thyroid cancer. I just had one in December, and also a scan, and it's not showing that it has reoccurred again, so I'm free of that. In terms of the hysterectomy and ostomy experience, for hysterectomy and ostomy, I've had a number of, surgeries on my abdomen, so I think the thing that I have not yet overcome is the exercise. So for the first 3 months of this year, the first quarter, it was really getting back to eating like normal people food. And you weren't here for the other videos for about 3 months when I was on the ostomy bag. Your food is extremely limited, and you can only eat, stewed meats and non-fiber. So that was an extremely crazy and hardcore limiting diet. After I was able to kind of eat anything that I wished, I think that also helped in feeling better, because you were not so restricted by everything. And food was such a meter of my passion that I deliberately shut out. And I just haven't baked or cooked much during this time, which did not help with feeling upset and just be feeling traumatic on what is happening. So eating normally again was a big win that I didn't expect. That was something that I was actually quite scared of, because I was just too exhausted and mentally drained and burned out from constantly like supporting myself and dragging myself to a positive mindset on keep moving forward. So after that, my health in terms of like my cardio, my heart health, and all of those kind of, because of the whole year being very inactive and sedentary, that didn't help very much. My heart rate was quite high. It was always over 120, 130, which is like very dangerous. It took a couple months for my heart rate to kind of lower on an average. And right now I have not felt the heart rate just randomly shooting up anymore. So I think that's a really good sign. But my cardio is super bad. Like, sometimes I challenge myself in like just running really quickly up a flight of New York City subway stairs and just see how winded I would get. And so, I can tell that I have progressed, running up a flight of stairs. Usually I would just be like catching my breath almost. And, it would get me worried. I most of the time I got scared just, walking fast or like just walking in a speedy fashion. And I think I really let that mental block prevent me from really pushing myself physically. So sometimes, you do feel like your abdomen had surgery. You have that kind of muscle memory to, like, there was a trauma in there. You've done some surgery. So I always felt a little uncomfortable or just not confident in getting right back to exercising, like getting on a treadmill or anything like that. Like just plain walking was, just something that I could probably do. Towards the end of the year, through my doctor checks, I did ask about this question, and I think my doctors were kind of disappointed in me not trying to use that as an excuse. Well, I don't know. This is at least how I'm describing myself, but they basically said there's nothing really wrong physically, and it's just purely mental, that that whenever you feel physically incapable, or you're just like being pushed to the limit, you kind of get scared and you stop. And it's sort of like limiting belief. So I've decided in 2024 I will try a lot harder in trying to be more active and healthy, because the inactivity and also, working a lot, sitting in a chair for long periods of time, and overworking last year, doesn't really help. And I while testing, it looks like I have like borderline pre-diabetic, and the doctors don't want to give me any medicine at all because I don't need it, but they're just saying to me that, don't be afraid to just like run. I know that sounds absolutely crazy, to be like, yeah, why can't you run? I think it's just a pure mental block from year before, where you kind of remembered like not being able to walk too much and rehabbing yourself back to normal, and then dealing with the pain of like just walking across the street in a normal fashion. Anyway, so I've thought about this, and I think this year we'll try to really challenge my limitations so that I could be like a better and healthier me. In terms of like other health things, I think that's it. I'm not taking any medication. My health has like slowly like gotten better every month, and it's like on the rise, and I can feel that every quarter. And like every quarter my heart rate kind of drops, and it's a slow improvement, and I'm excited about keep on that trajectory, and ultimately being in the best shape that I can be. Second part is all about the mental health aspect, and it's not something that I talked extensively on this channel. I've talked about it for a little bit, and it's a hard topic to talk about because I don't know, is that something that people want to hear about? But okay, so I mentioned before that at the beginning of 2023, for 3 months, I was just sort of getting back to eating normally. During that time, I just felt so depressed. I think that I had, really dark thoughts, and I always had these very loud voices in my head that was very, very negative. And I just felt like I was always competing with some voice in my head. So I got a lot of help, and I knew that in 2023 I really needed to devote time and get professional help. And so for the first 3 months I got a career coach from Amazon, and that's where I work. And the career coach, we met once a week, and she was able to kind of work with me to find and identify like the things that I'm proud of or things that I have strength in. So that kind of goes hand in hand into like knowing your value and purpose and the reason why you exist. And so I got very, very clear in 2023 of that, and I have never felt better from a self-confidence standpoint. Later in the middle of the year, I have a therapist that was helping me out, and I eventually hired my career coach on full time, because she has experience, a PhD in psychology. So I decided to see her to work on a variety of things that I didn't understand about myself. And one of the things is, what I learned is that I typically don't face my emotions head on. So I tend to kind of be in denial, kind of block it out. And that's sort of like a survival tactic that we typically do when we're faced with something very hard. So what I learned is that during 2022, I reacted and acted a certain way because that was how I was going to cope and kind of survive through the events. And surviving through the events is different than grieving for the fact that you have to survive the events. And what I mean by that is, after the event is over, I seem to not get as sad or upset. It seems like I didn't have any emotion. So I think the reason is that I wasn't able to start the process of grieving for the loss because I was stuck. And I knew that was the reason, but I didn't know how to actually get myself to be in the emotions and starting to think about everything and start grieving. And I think that I was stuck in my mind where whenever I felt uncomfortable with the facts of the events, I just don't think about them. It is an automatic block of your mind. So like, for example, the videos that I put on this channel, I'm looking at them now and I don't even want to click on any of them. Like, I can't watch myself. And I think about why I created the videos. And the reason why I created them was, because I wanted to help someone else see that they can also survive through this and be a voice to say, you know what, it's survivable, and here's my experience. So I just felt that only until now, like January 2024, I finally started to feel a little bit open, like in terms of like a little bit open to I can see myself at the end of this grief, where I can see myself like really speaking about the events in a more open, factual, authentic way. But I'm not there. So examples of like, whenever I think about something that happened last, before, I tend to just say, I get that feeling of like, well, that's a negative thought, or that's a negative thing that no one wants to hear about, and why should I be spending time thinking about something negative, right? Why rob this moment? And the answer is that if you don't think about it and you keep on avoiding and denying your ability to feel, like basically prevent yourself from feeling what you're supposed to feel, which is sadness, and being authentic and being open to however you feel about it, you essentially, can explode in the future, where you never dealt with the grief head on. You kind of just like sweep it under the rug. I don't want that. I don't want that to happen to me. Even though that is something that I typically do and have been doing, it is a behavior I want to change, and that is why I'm working with my coach. So last year, my goal was to make peace of my mortality. That means that I can take all of the events that happened last, 2022, and be at peace with them. So I'll give an example. I remember that when I first came out of my cancer surgery and I'm drugged up, I hear the doctors go to a patient next to me. It was this older lady, I think. And the doctors quietly told her that, that there's stage 4 cancer and that there's nothing that they can do. And for the next steps is for her to decide if she wants to be sent to a hospice center or be at home. And being just right out of my own surgery, I didn't have the, for some reason I just didn't have the time or the feelings for myself. I actually just spent all my energy or thoughts thinking about what I just heard. And I felt so bad. I think that moment, it will never leave me as a person, because I wouldn't know what to say then. I felt like, that could have happened to me. Like, that could be something the doctors come over and say to me. And I knew that if I played that memory back many times over, I think that I would, want to be at a peaceful place, or a place that I was really happy with myself, and, just accept it. And I think that, that's the biggest takeaway that I have in life perspective that I have now, is that anything can happen at any time. And what matters to you today, and how you should treat others, and why are you here for? What does this all mean? That is one of the themes I had last year that I feel that I spent quite a lot of time thinking about, and just feeling at peace with this thought. And I think that, being at peace also means that you stay true to your character. And no matter how someone else don't agree with it, or someone else has a bad behavior, that you will never change. And that you have the strength and courage to say, fuck them. I am me, and you can go ahead and be whatever you want. So I think I'm there right now to say that. Well, at least in my mind. And so in 2024, I think that, I've gotten more and more clear about the things that I actually care for and things that I don't. So the gift of clarity is my gift for 2023. So in 2024, obviously I'm still on the journey of trying to heal. Also, the reason why I am devoting a lot of effort in the healing process is also thinking about the future, and we are going through a surrogacy process, so that is very, very hard on me to go through one of those, especially it's been just a year from the health stuff, dealing with the complex emotions of having a surrogate and the financial burden and the emotional impact of it makes me think that there's a lot of reason to really focus on yourself and make yourself as healthy as possible, so that you are better prepared for anything that comes. And also, you should be able to set an example for others and for your future child if it happens. So thank you for still being here if you made it to the end of this video. I am thinking about creating a lot more content in 2024, maybe something that is short form or a vlog style again. So let me know in the comments, what are you interested in me talking about, and what would you like me to answer if you have any ideas. All right, thank you very much.